Would you stand with us? We fall down. We fall down. We lay our crowns at the feet of Jesus. The greatness of mercy and love at the feet of Jesus. And we cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy is the Lamb. We fall down, we lay our crowns at the feet of Jesus. The greatness of mercy and love at the feet of Jesus. And we cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy is the Lamb. Holy, holy, one more time. Cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy is the Lamb. This next one is a relatively new song. This was actually a song I used when I auditioned to come here. This is a song about giving back to God and responding to the blessings that He gives to us. So it feels like. It feels like all the songs have probably all been sung, but I want to bring you something true, something that moves you. I don't have all the words to tell you how much you're worth, but I want to bring you something true, something that moves you. From the dawn to the dusk of my days, from the depths of my soul and with all of my strength, here is my heart in just one phrase. Jesus, I love you, I love you. When I say it, I mean it, it's true. And I hope you can see it in all that I do. I know it might be nothing new. Jesus, I love you, I love you, I do. And I'm sure the angels sing beautiful melodies, but I want to bring a song that's mine for the rest of my life. Oh, I want to bring a song that's mine for the rest of my life. From the dawn to the dusk of my days, from the depths of my soul and with all a little praise, a little praise. What a joy, what an honor that I can say. I lit up a smile on my Father's face. All it takes is a little faith, a little faith. All it takes is a little praise, a little praise. What a joy, what an honor that I can say. I lit up a smile on my Father's face. From the dawn to the dusk of my days, from the depths of my soul and with all of my strength, here is my heart in just one phrase. Jesus, I love you, I love you. When I say it, I mean it, it's true. And I hope you can see it in all that I do. I know it might be nothing new. Jesus, I love you, I do. See, when I say it, when I say it, I mean it, it's true. And I hope you can see it in all that I do. I know it might be nothing new. Jesus, I love you, I do.
All right. Lots of things going on, but I do want to start with, oh, thank you. I'm going to need a bigger desk. Do want to start with, do what? All right there. Couple of things I am thinking about. First and foremost, this is I tell this story frequently, so if you've heard it before, you can just groan like you've heard it before. There was a Sunday school teacher that was reviewing with their students some of the things that they had been working on. It was a second grade class, and so the teacher was just kind of like, hey, do you guys remember any of the things that we had been talking about? And one of the little boys raises his hand, and he starts to go through some of the concepts that they had been learning about. And he was saying, that Jesus gave his life on the cross. And the teacher was like, yeah, that's right. And they took Jesus down off the cross, and they placed him in the tomb. Yeah. And then they took a big stone, and they put the stone in front of the tomb. And this teacher's just amazed, like, you're really remembering all of it. I mean, this is really good. And on the third day, they rolled away the stone, and Jesus came out. And this teacher's almost crying because this child has gotten it step by step. I mean, just knew the story step by step. And then the teacher said, is there anything else? And the little boy said, yes, if he sees his shadow, we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. So, tomorrow is Groundhog Day. Does it feel like it's February? No, I feel like this is the longest month. January's been the longest month just ever. It was absolutely brutal. But it is. Tomorrow is Groundhog Day. And today we're going to talk a little bit about giving. So I wanted to ask a question. Why did the groundhog donate so much to his church? He was philanthropic. Now, this is the final one, what did the French groundhog see when he woke up? His chateau. You waited 2 weeks for those. I worked on those for 2 weeks. Couple of things. First and foremost, if this is your first Sunday here, you get to see this all the time. You should just come back just for that. We are so excited. We have a lot of fun stuff that is planned for today. A couple of things I do want to mention. Today is the last, we have one more spot for our Valentine weekend retreat. So if you have been thinking about it, you put it off, you have not been, thinking about it a whole lot, we have one more spot. So we're trying to fill that spot. So if you want to go, or if you are sitting next to somebody who won't take you, then you can just do a little bit of that. But we do have one more spot that is open. If you want to be in that one spot, make sure you come see me after service. If you haven't paid for that yet, if you haven't, you might have signed up, but if you haven't officially registered or paid for it, make sure you do that as well. Next Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. I don't know about you. How many of you care about either? Okay, so then our focus is going to be soup. Our focus is going to be the meal after service on Sunday. So next Sunday, we're doing our Super Bowl competition. And so the way this is going to work is that you're doing either a chili, a soup, or a dessert. And there will be competitions in each of those categories. Okay, so there'll be prizes and fierce. Well, I get loving judgmentalism that will be used next Sunday. But if you want to bring all three of those, that's great. If you want to bring one of those, that's great. But there is a sign-up sheet back in the Connect corner that if you want to participate, and we will have, it will not just simply be judges. It will be part of it is a little bit of a fundraiser, and we're going to sell off tickets so that you can judge your neighbor. And so if you want to vote for who you think is the best in each category, we will have that for you as well. So we're excited about that. Next Sunday, we're starting our membership class. We haven't had one in a while, but we're looking to have a baptism service in March. So if you are interested in joining, if you're interested in membership, you just have questions about anything, just know we're going to have our membership class. It's going to be next Sunday. It's going to be in the fellowship hall, and we're going to meet about 9:15 to about 9:45. It's not a terribly long class. But we'll have some stuff that we'll pass out to you, some materials for you to look over and all of that. So if you're interested, please join us next Sunday. Last week, we talked a lot about service, but we were online. And so that was just an incredible, I have nightmares of shoveling, just continually shoveling. So I don't want to lose sight of any of the things that we wanted to talk about. The message last week was about service, but really just still wanted to drill down on a few things. One is if you have not gotten an ARC card in a while, we have some in the back. Make sure you take some. I'll have some at the door if you greet me when you leave, and just make sure you take one, take a few. That is something I really want folks to do throughout the week. I am trying to think about, there's one that I want to do, but I do need some help. There are still some sidewalks that are covered in the Wellman area. And so if you want to help me this week, what I'm really looking for is I'm looking for a snow blower that I can just go up and down the sidewalks real quick. But that is sort of a really good act of kindness that no one's really thinking about. And I'm guessing if they haven't shoveled it by now, they're probably not going to shovel it. So for them, for their neighbors who wish that there was somebody who would do it, we're just going to do that. But I want to coordinate that with a few of you. So if you want to do that, I can do it like Tuesday, Wednesday, one of those days. It's snowing again Thursday, at least that's what my phone tells me, which has lied to me all week long. But if you're interested in helping me with that. But you don't have to do that one if you just want to do any kind of act of random kindness. I want to encourage you to think about that. So I think that is it. One thing we did mention last week in the online service, there was a little spiritual gifts assessment that I referenced during the message. And everybody remembers that, right? Because you all... Yeah. So, it is back there in the Connect corner. I have about 20 copies of the the spiritual gifts sort of assessment. And it's really just a sort of, what are the things that God made me interested in, passionate about? What are the things I'm good at? All of that. And so if you're interested in taking one of those, it's not super scientific. You just kind of answer the questions, put a little number in, and you sort of add it up at the end. It'll give you just a very brief glimpse, a very quick glance at who you are, what you're about, and all of that. And then once you take that, and then you can sort of say, hey, these are probably some things that I need to be thinking about in terms of volunteering, both in our church and in events and community stuff moving forward. So I think that's all I have in terms of announcements. I do want to ask Claudia Paul to come up and tell us a little bit about the Make a Way lasagna dinner that is coming up in just a few days. Is this one on? Hello? Hello? There you go. I just like doing that. There you go. All right, there you go.
Yes, February 12th. You have an opportunity, we all have an opportunity to put into practice what we've been learning for 40 weeks. The Mission Committee has designated this as a local project. We're going to the Make-A-Way Center. Make-A-Way Center is a special center for social and recreational people with disabilities. It's a drop-in center. And so we're going to bring a party there February 12th, which is Thursday in 2 weeks. 12 days, actually. We're going to bring a lasagna party, and we're asking you to be a part of this party. This is a great opportunity for us to actually practice what we've been kind of maybe dreading or maybe being excited to do, hopefully excited. So we had the lasagna all taken care of. What we'd like is if you can come, when you come, if you would bring a side dish or a dessert. You don't have to tell us ahead of time what you're going to bring, just bring it with you. We'll have our dinner at 4 o'clock. The Make-A-Way Center is on 3rd Street across from St. Timothy's Church, the dark stone church with the red doors. And that parking lot, St. Timothy's parking lot, is where you'll park your car to walk across the street to the Make-A-Way Center. If you can help us with decorating, with setting up and decorating, we'd like you to meet us there at 2 o'clock on that Thursday. And if you can help us with cleanup after the dinner and all the celebration, we'd like you to join us at 5 or thereafter to help us clean up and carry out and do everything. They're going to have bingo afterwards, so we don't want to get in their way. They're really excited about that. But we do want to just bring the joy of Christ that we all have with our smiles and the love in our eyes as we feed these folk on February 12th. See you there. Thank you.
Perfect. So we're in week 5 of our series during our Red Letter Challenge, and I hope that each of you have been keeping up with your readings. I know the schedule has not been favorable in terms of classes and trying to meet. We have our Sunday school class did meet last Sunday. Obviously, we weren't here. Our Tuesday morning group, y'all haven't met for 2 weeks. So pack a lunch because your class on Tuesday is going to be really long. So, but regardless, whether those classes have been meeting or not, I hope that you have been staying consistent in your readings, that you've been using this time to allow God to speak to you, to share with you, and all of that. So, just in terms of a review, one of the things, and the youth can go out to the carriage house, by the way. They can go ahead and leave. But in terms of the 5 things that we have been focusing on, these are our 5 categories. These are our 5 targets. I actually have them on this ladder. I don't know if you noticed this ladder or not. But the 5 targets for our challenge, and we're going to say these all together. So just say them with me. Being, forgiving, serving, giving, and going. Being, forgiving, serving, giving, and going. And so we're in week 5, and today we are going to talk a little bit about giving. And so everybody go, giving. Yeah, yes, exactly. That's what you should be doing. Exactly. But it is. What's interesting, what's amazing is that this is not necessarily a topic that people want to talk about, but Jesus talked about giving a lot. In fact, he talked about giving more than heaven, more than hell, really more than really any of the other topics. He talks about the idea of giving. And the question right out of the gate is, why would Jesus talk about money so much? Why would he talk about it? Why would he talk about giving as often as he did? Because I think people desperately need wisdom. People desperately need wisdom when it comes to their finances. They really need to know what to do. We are given information from all kinds of different areas, but the reality is what Jesus wants us to know. There's a particular way that I want you to handle your money. So, statistics. There's a lot. I'm going to give you a lot of numbers today. There's a lot of verses today in your bulletin. There is an insert that you can use to follow along, but you can also use that to go back later. There's a lot of references that we're not going to try to flash everything in front of you, but hopefully this is something that you can dwell on a little bit. But the first statistic I want to start off with this. 78% of full-time workers, 78% of full-time workers live paycheck to paycheck. Okay? Meaning, now when we say paycheck to paycheck, what that basically means is if I don't get paid this week, I'm in trouble. The whole boat sinks. Everything starts to fall apart, and it's a bad place. 71% of people are in debt. 71% of people in this country are in debt. And there's a study that I've seen recently. It's a study by two researchers, Stanley and Markham, found that money is the one thing people argue about most in their marriage. That is the one thing. In fact, what their study said was so interesting. It said most couples have kind of an unwritten rule, okay, or whatever your unwritten rules are. Don't yell, don't slam the phone, or don't, use, bad words or whatever your unwritten rules are. What this study found is that whatever our unwritten rules are, a couple has a tendency, if they're going to break the rules, which means that not only am I going to argue with you, I'm going to go for the jugular. I'm going to go all in. No holds barred. If I'm gonna just go ahead and break the bank, and I know what that's gonna cost me for the next few weeks, whatever, okay? If I know it's about money, I'll go for the jugular. It don't matter. Now, they won't do it about your mother-in-law, and they won't do it about, chores. They won't do it about the kids, anything like that. Those kinds of topics sort of keep us at bay. But no, money in this study said if you're gonna break the rules and go for it, in an argument, it's about money. And some of you are like, that's interesting. That is an interesting thing. Now, the other reality is this, is that financial stress, one of the things that's sort of hard to talk about is the idea of financial stress. Financial stress is normal for most people. Like, we don't even really process it. Like, what would it be like if you were not under financial stress? And you're like, what are you talking about? It's almost like fish without water kind of thing. Like, that's just the deal. Like, you got bills to pay. You have obligations that you have to take care of. And it's just sort of a normal thing. You have monthly payments. That's normal. You have debt. That's normal. You have worry. You have anxiety. You have fear. And depending on, it really doesn't matter. Depending on who's in office, doesn't matter what the news stations say. The economy is the economy. Whether it's a slow economy, a good economy, a great economy, some of you are still in a place of stress, anxiety, and fear. And that tension that rises up in your life, in your relationships, all of that, we've sort of figured out, well, this is normal. This is just the normal way that we do things. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to say something that might be a little controversial, okay? You are rich. You, not the person next to you, not the person in front of you. You are rich. The very fact that you are sitting in this room, you are wealthy. You are in at least the top 7% of the entire world. The entire world. You are wealthy. So some of you give me a little, yes, perhaps. One of my favorite preachers, his name's Andy Stanley, he has this quote, and he says, it's funny, rich people are in denial. And normally we're not in denial about things we know. For instance, tall people admit they're tall. Short people admit they're short. I don't try to hide that. I can't really hide that, okay? Athletic people, they admit that they're athletic. Oh, I was just at the gym and I was doing the thing. Artsy people, they admit that they're artsy. They're different. They're quirky, and they admit, like, well, I'm just sort of an artsy person. They don't mind telling you. People who are a mess don't mind telling you. Okay? If you get in somebody's car and it's a mess, they don't hide like, I'm going to let you know if you get in my car, it's a mess. And, and those folks are probably, the car's a mess, the room's a mess, their life's a mess, and they're as happy as can be. You've met those folks. They don't care. They're good. Okay? Introverts don't mind telling you they're introverts. I don't like people. I just kind of like books and that's what I like. Okay? Extroverts, you kind of know who they are when they come in. You can hear them from the parking lot, and they just come rolling in like thunder, and they're just, all of it. Okay, and really, they don't need to tell you. But when it comes to being rich, we're all in denial. We're all in denial. None of us admit that. None of us really, oh, no. If I had this, then I could probably do that. But according to those statistics, if you make $40,000 a year, you're in the top 4% of the world. If you make over $48,000 a year, you are in the top 1% of the entire world. Think about that for a second. 1%. Now, we enjoy a quality of life that very few people in history have ever experienced. The things that we have, the things that we have access to, the ability that we have to gain things, you go back in history, this was unheard of, okay? It's actually a bizarre thing when you sort of think about it. We really, there used to be a thing that we would do when we go to the supermarket, okay? There was something called out of season. Okay? Oh, I can't get these because they're out of season. Okay? I can't get these berries. I can't get this fruit. I can't get these vegetables. They're out of season. I'm limited to these things because these things are in season. The reality is nowadays, there's nothing out of season. It's coming from somewhere. We can make sure that happens. And for most of history, it was kind of assumed that you only had certain things that you would eat or partake of in the fall when the harvest came in. And you had to sort of make those things last until the spring. And there were certain things you would eat in the spring. There were certain things that you ate in the summer. And you would look forward to certain things being in season. You would look forward to apples. No one ate apples in February. Think about this for a second. No one ate apples in February. No one ate strawberries, blueberries. Nobody. Up until just a few decades. And we have all of that at our disposal. How many of you have ever thrown away something that's expired? Oh man, it's my hobby. I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I go through that fridge and I said, I look at the date, and if I can't make it out, if it's a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or 5, and then you find that rare treasure, that like Indiana Jones moment where you find the thing that says 2019. You're like, oh. The very fact that you have something that you can have, you're storing expired goods in your house. How many of you have more than one? How many of you have more than one appliance that keeps things cold? Just more than one. Okay, so you have a fridge and a freezer. okay? Or you have a fridge, and then you have the small fridge, or the game time fridge, or the man cave fridge, okay? I have thought about how to install one in the bathroom. That's not going, But, I mean, you have more than one thing that keeps things cold. It's amazing. It's amazing. There's an industry which barely existed 30 years ago. And don't raise your hands on this one. I don't want you to, rat yourself out, okay? There's an industry that barely existed 30 years ago, but it's booming. And it's an industry that's bigger than the music industry, okay? It is bigger than the music industry. This industry, it is called the storage industry. The storage industry. If you are one of these, investor types like, oh, I'm looking towards the future. You know what's going to be big? Storage units, okay? Across the entire world, there are 52,000 to date. There's probably some, every once in a while they continue to get bigger, but 52,000 storage facilities. 52,000 storage facilities in the world. 46,000 are in the United States. Think about that, okay? I am really thinking about we're going to do a yard sale just for a fundraiser. Just bring all your stuff. We're going to move on. So that's for another day. Okay? We love our stuff. We love it. And we're rich. Congratulations. It feels good. Hopefully that alleviates some of your stress, just to know, I'm in the upper crust. Yes. Maybe a little monocle, a little, kind of thing, a little top hat or something, just to make you feel good. But the reality is, money is not immoral. It's not, We quote the verse from the New Testament, but we always misquote it. Everybody misquotes it. The way most people quote it is, money is the root of all evil. Okay? That's not the way you quote that verse. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. We kind of just shorten it real quick. It's money's fault. It is all money's fault. Nope. It's my fault. It's up to me. The reality is that money is the number one idol in our lives. It is. It's the number one idol in our lives. And Jesus is after that part. He is after that piece. When it becomes an idol. When it becomes an idol. And the irony of all of it, and we would fight tooth and nail to make sure this stays, on our money is that phrase, E pluribus unum. No, in God we trust, yes. In God we trust. It's on our money. And if someone were to propose, we're going to take that off, we would lose our minds. We would lose our minds. You'd start waving flags and all kind of, But is it true? Is it true? In God we trust. Is it truly true? The very thing that you are idolizing, the very thing that we are worshiping, it actually has the correct answer right there on the money. It's amazing. So, what I have for us today is something called the generosity ladder. Okay? And this is something that Misty's so excited that I'm actually going to do all this, okay? But the generosity ladder, the generosity ladder is a very basic concept, is that we're going to build on something, okay? There's going to be something we're going to start with at the bottom, and we're going to find ourselves, hopefully, at the top at some point. And the main idea for the generosity ladder is to do a few things. The first one is this, is that if you follow this generosity ladder as we outline it, the first thing that I want to make sure that happens for you is that your needs are met, okay? Now, some of you, as I'm starting to talk about, hey, we're all rich and we all got too much stuff. There are some of you in this room, you're like, you know what, that's not where I'm at right now. In fact, you kind of don't know where I'm at right now. In fact, I'm kind of worried about where I'm going to be this week and what I'm doing this week and what's happening and all that. So it's all good and well for this person or that person. But for me this week, I'm a little stressed. And so the very first thing that we want to talk about is, hey, I want to help you alleviate that stress. I want to help you get out of that place. And so the basic idea is that first, no debt needs met. No debt needs met. That's really sort of the basic idea. And what I know to be true is this, is that most money problems stem from bad decisions or a distorted perspective. Okay? Most of the money problems that we have, most of the money problems that I have, most of the money problems you have, they come from either bad decisions or a distorted perspective. And it's usually the distorted perspective that leads to the bad decisions. The first distorted perspective is this: it's my money. It's my money. It's mine. Okay? It is not yours. We've already talked about this a little bit. It's not yours. It does not belong to you. Over and over, when Jesus is in the New Testament, he'll give these parables and he'll have these different scenarios, but over and over there's a scenario that repeats itself. And it's the idea of the manager or the steward, okay? And that there is a person or a group of people, they have been chosen to steward over, to watch over the master's money because it's not theirs. And if you have that perspective, that means if it's mine, that means I can do whatever I want with it. I can do whatever I want with it. Then that leads to the bad decisions. Okay? You know how many millions of dollars are going to change hands over the Super Bowl this coming week? I mean, it's unbelievable. It's not just the game. There's all these little, what they call prop bets. They're going to, how long's the national anthem? What's the first commercial? Who scores the first point? All that, just craziness. There's going to be millions and millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. But with that said, the generosity ladder. The first thing that we're going to start with is at the bottom. At the bottom is we have some financial stress that we have to first sort of talk about. The idea of financial stress. And so I'm going to put financial stress near the bottom right here. Okay. Financial stress. Okay? Because some of us are in a place of financial stress, financial worry. And what the New Testament wants to say, and I want to look a little bit at the New Testament. Eventually, I want to just sort of focus on the red letters. But the New Testament, it's all over the place. It's not just Jesus. It's not just Jesus says this stuff. You can go through almost every book of the New Testament and find something to do with this. But in Colossians chapter 1, verse 16, it says, "For by him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him." James 1:17, "Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change." 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 17 through 19, "As for the rich in this present age, charge them not to be haughty, nor to set their hopes on the uncertainty of riches, but on God, who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. They are to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share, thus storing up treasure for themselves as a good fortune for the future, so that they may take hold of that which is truly life." So all these verses, there's a theme that's happening. First of all, it all comes from God. It's all been created by God. It's all been made for us. And there's a purpose behind it. There's a purpose of why you have these resources, why you've been given these resources. And not just to use the resources, but like Paul says to Timothy, be rich in good deeds, to be generous and ready to share. And if you go back to the top of your sheet, if you go back to the 5, you realize that there is a purpose to this. Like if I started here, if I started at giving before I got to any of these other ones, you wouldn't listen. You're really not going to listen. Okay? You start to spend time. You spend time with Jesus. You go through this process of forgiving. You start to realize how much fun it is to start serving. And then there's a next logical step. There is a progression to this. What more can I do? Or what more can I give? And all of your stuff, all your houses, your clothes, your toys, your mutual funds, your cars, they're all God's. They've all been entrusted to you. Everything you have. Romans chapter 14, verse 12 says, so then each of us will give an account of himself to God. 2 Corinthians 5:10, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. Yikes. That means I have to explain what I did with it all? I have to explain what I did with the money? Yeah. When you were a kid and you got an allowance or you had a job or something like that, if you ever just how many of you just wasted money in the candy store one time? You just blew it all, okay? And you had to come back home, and there's this incredible conversation that your mom or your dad have with you, and they say, what did you spend it on? I don't know. It just was here, and then it's gone. I don't know. Some of us are still going to the candy store. Some of us are still spending time in the candy store. Here's an incredible idea, okay? 40,000, 48,000, all of that. Okay, I'm going to bring it down to the real basics. $25,000 a year, okay? If you make $25,000 a year and you're working from ages 25 to 65. You would hope somebody's going to make more the older they get and all that. But if you just make $25,000 from 25 to 65, $25,000 a year, you're going to make $1 million over the course of your career. Well, that's nothing. That's over 40 years. I get it. But the reality is, you're still going to have to explain, what did you do with the money? What did you do with it? And so the very first thing on our little ladder, step one, very basic. Step one, okay? Step one is just giving. Just giving. Wait, it's a little elementary. Okay? A little elementary, this idea of just giving. But the reality is, there's some of us that don't. There are some of us that don't. I would love to say that we are, as a congregation, as members, I would love to say we are 100% giving congregation. I know that's not the case. I know it's not the case. And so for some of you, this challenge is super simple. Some of you just need to think about giving. Not an amount, you're not going to get into the higher level stuff. Just some of you need to think about that idea. Just the idea of giving. Just kind of reach your hand in there, see if it actually works. Just to try it. It's a muscle you may have never flexed. Just to try it. Right? What we said last year, for some of you might remember this, we had a message we did last year where this is sort of a review. This is from 2025. And the message we gave last year is a very simple concept. It says we give first, we save second, and we live on the rest. We give first, we save second, and we live on the rest. Okay? If you do this one, it works. Now, most of us don't do this. We do it opposite. And if we get to the third one, great. Okay? First of us, we live on all of it. We live on all of it. We need it. We live on all of it. Savings, well, I'll save when I make more. Once I get to more, I'll save more. Okay? Once if I get to that place, I'll save some more. And then giving, I know it's like Easter's coming up. We'll do, whatever. Okay? But the idea, very simple. Give first, save second, and live on the rest. That's a very basic idea. So the very first thing that some of us, or I guess the second thing that we need to do is step 2. You need to determine your priorities. okay? Step 2, determine your priorities, okay? If you are the priority, keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing it. It's working. It's working, okay? Have you ever met anybody, or have you ever described somebody this way? Hopefully not the person in your pew, okay? But you've ever described somebody, you know what? All they do is they think of themselves. That's all they do is they think of themselves. Well, they're doing a good job. If your priority is going to be the kingdom, if your priority is going to be what Jesus is telling us to do, if your priority is going to be anything that the New Testament's telling you to do, I'm not introducing to you any new concepts. I'm not introducing to you anything you've not heard before. Okay? This is not rocket science. This is not anything I came up with. If you go to Jesus' main set of teachings, which are what we call the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, 6, and 7, just those 3 chapters. He goes to money once in chapter 6, comes back to it again in chapter 6, actually revisits again in chapter 7. And there's all kinds of other good stuff in there. He talks about forgiveness, talks about we talked about at Christmas, don't worry about the plank that's in your eye, don't worry about the little piece of dust that's in your neighbor's eye, and all that stuff's in there. Be a light. Don't let your light go out. Put your light up on top at the top. Don't cover it with a little bushel. He has all kinds of good stuff. There's all kinds of good stuff in there. Blessed are the poor in spirit, all that. No, he keeps coming back and back to money over and over again. The next one, kind of simple. And maybe this is the year that you finally are going to get it done. Okay? The next step, you got to get out of debt. Some of you know it. You need to get out of debt. Huh? The coolest thing is this. There are so many resources out there. It's incredible. Okay? It used to be people say, well, I don't know how to do budgets. I don't know how to do Excel. There's like a spreadsheet thing, and I don't know how to do. Listen, there are apps everywhere that will do things for you. The one that we use the one by Dave Ramsey. It's called Every Dollar. It's cool. You just kind of put in all your stuff. You just load it in. It'll create a budget for you. It will help guide you. It'll actually tell you what to do with your money. Spend more on this. Spend less on this. And it's very cool. He kind of yells at me from my pocket all the time, like, okay. If you don't like that one, there's all kinds of it. There's this cool commercial. There's this one called Rocket Money, okay? And I'm not getting paid by any of these people, okay? Rocket Money, it's got this cool thing. You just put in all your stuff. You put in your email address. It'll tell you all the subscriptions you have. If you have extra, people don't realize, I've got like 2 subscriptions to Netflix or things like that, But there are apps out there. If you just type in personal money management or budgeting on your phone, all kinds of stuff's going to pop up. And you can start using it. Try one. Just try it. Okay? Just try it. But you have to first make that decision to get out of debt. Now, what comes with this, the next step is you need to discipline yourself in small financial ways. Okay? You need to discipline yourself in small financial ways. Okay? Discipline yourself in small financial ways. Discipline yourself in small financial ways. What does that mean? It means just start asking the questions, okay? Do I need to spend money on this thing? Why am I spending money on this thing? The whole subscription thing, you'd be shocked what you've subscribed to. You'd be shocked what you're spending your money on. Just make small decisions. When you hear budget, there's like this big monster that comes in and he's going to take away all your stuff. Okay? No, that's not how that works. Okay? Budget is simply a decision. You're making a choice. I'm making a choice. I'm going to do something with my money. I'm not going to let money do something to me. I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to make a choice about it. I'm not going to let it determine me. The other reality, the next step is you need to discover the joy of generosity. Okay? You need to discover the joy of generosity. Some of you have not gotten this one. Thank you. And my wife sent you, didn't she? There we go. The joy of generosity. Okay? The joy of generosity is a very simple thing. It's fun. It is fun. Just to give stuff away. And that's why I do the ARC thing. Some of it's about wearing costumes, but mostly it's about the joy of doing something for other people. We say it every Christmas. Oh, I'm more. And this is true. How many of you have grandkids? Okay. Now, how many of you spent Christmas waiting to see what your grandkids got you? No. You sat there, you were excited to see what? Them open the box that you got for them. And then they play with the box instead of the toy. But that's a whole other thing, okay? Or you have to put it together or something along those lines, okay? But we know it's true. You know it's true. Again, this is not rocket science. The next step is, this is what's hard, and this is where I get pushed back. This is where people get pushed back when you start talking about money. What we need, step number six is called the habit of now. The habit of now. Habit of now. Hey. When do you need to start this stuff? Now. Not, it's resolution time, all that. Or when I get it, when the ship comes in, when my fortunes change, when I get that new job, or whatever the situation is. No, it is now. It is now. When Jesus has a conversation with the rich young ruler, and it's an amazing story because he forever will be the rich young ruler, okay? This man comes to Jesus and he asks him a question. Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus goes through some of the commandments with him. He doesn't go through all 10 with him, but he goes through some of the commandments with him. He says, well, you got to do this one, you got to do this one, you got to do this one. And the young man says, well, I've done all those. I'm a good person. I haven't killed anybody. I don't steal from people. I keep the Sabbath. I've done all these things. How many of you want credit? I've never killed anybody. That's going to be a big one. Like, I haven't killed anybody yet. And, so Jesus says to him, okay, there's one thing you're missing. And he sort of gets to the heart of it with him. You need to go sell all your stuff and come follow me. And he says he goes away. He's sad because he's got a lot of stuff. I know people like that. They have a lot of stuff. And if you made them get rid of it, they would be sad. And we never hear of him again. We never hear of him again. Now, if there was some kind of other thing where he's, I'm going to keep all my stuff, but I'm going to do cool stuff. And I'm going to use the stuff to do cool stuff, and then I'm going to report back to Jesus all the cool stuff that I did. We never hear of him again. Never hear of him again. Now, in Matthew chapter 6, verses 1 through 4, it says, beware of practicing your righteousness before other people to be seen by them. For then you will have no reward for your Father who is in heaven. Therefore, when you give to the needy, sound no trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may be praised by others. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret, and your Father who sees you in secret will reward you. Now, as cool as that is, and that's the kind of thing, you don't want to come trumpeting yourself in and and you doing all that. Now, but what Jesus is saying, and it's you have to sort of read between the lines on this, he assumes you're giving. I'm going to give you some advice on how to give, when to give, who to tell, who not to tell, sort of keep it to yourself, all that. But the assumption is, I assume you're giving. When you do it, just don't do it this way. When you do it, don't show off, don't do anything like that. And what the New Testament really wants to lay out for us are two very big concepts. The first idea that is important for us to understand is the idea of planned giving, okay? That it is planned, that you have a plan, that hopefully when you go into your budget, when you go into your finances, that you have a plan for giving, that you don't have to think about it when you come here. And this is not give more money to us or give more money to the church or anything like that, okay? That you have a plan for how much you're going to give. You've planned this out. That in your budget, somewhere you should sort of think this out. I've got to pay my electric bill. I got to pay my water bill, my gas bill. I got to go put gas in the snowblower this week. Whatever, all that, okay? There's a plan. There's a plan for all that. You've thought that out. You are not coming into church wondering if, or just maybe considering it. Now, here's the good news. I don't think about it. I do all of it online. I know some of you don't like that. I would encourage as many of you to do that as possible, sort of sight unseen. You don't really have to process it. But I made a decision. There's going to be a certain amount that you give every time I get paid. I don't process it. I don't think about it. Oh, I wonder. Because as soon as you start thinking about it, you're getting a little bit less than really what you are able to do. You're always going, I got that thing coming up. I got the trip or whatever. The other idea is the idea of being percentage-based, that if you have a plan, then there should be a percentage. Now, the biblical word for that is the word tithe, and we don't like that word. That word, man, some people, they get all worked up. But that is step number 7, the idea of tithing. Is Mike still back there? Good. I know, he's a brave soul. Okay. Step number 7 is proportional giving, which is the word tithing. Just gonna make sure it stays up here. Perfect. I should change the light bulbs while I'm up here. Hey. I know. Oh, I could almost get to that. Yeah. No. The idea of tithing, it's an interesting idea. If you go back to the Old Testament, if you go back to the book of Malachi, okay, there's an incredible chapter. Malachi is an amazing book. In fact, it's a book that I will point people to. If you're a young person and you sort of have, sort of like I'm not big on church, or I'm not big on organized religion. I'll hear this one all the time. I'm more spiritual than religious. I hear that one a lot. I always point them to the book of Malachi. Like, you're going to read some stuff in there. You're going to read some stuff in there that is going to blow you away. And he convicts more than anything else that you need to be doing something. You got to get up and do something. And so he's harsh at points, but he gives it to you. Malachi chapter 3, he says, "For I, the Lord, I don't change. Therefore you, O children of Jacob, are not consumed. For the days of your fathers you have turned aside from my statutes and have not kept them. Return to me, and I will return to you, says the Lord of hosts." But you say, "How will we return? Will man rob God? Yet you are robbing me." You say, "How are we robbing you?" "In your tithes and your contributions. You are cursed with a curse, for you are robbing me, the whole nation of you. Bringing the full tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and thereby put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you a blessing until there is no more need." Wow. I don't have time to go into all that. But, just what an incredible chapter. First and foremost, are you robbing God? Okay? Are you robbing him? But the second thing is listen, test me. This is the only time where this idea comes up. He says, if you don't believe this works, just try it. Just try it. Tithe for 90 days. Just see. You're worried about money, you're stressed out, you have anxiety, all these different things. Just try it. You can either give money to God or you can give money to the doctor who's going to give you something for the anxiety or the stress or whatever. You're going to spend it somewhere, okay? Just try it, 90 days. Try from now till Easter. What is that? 10 weeks, 8 weeks? Just try it. Test me. That's what God's saying. Just test me. And then you say, I've had people like, oh, that's the Old Testament, though. That's the Old Testament. That's the Old Testament. You know, we're not bound by, we're not bound by the Old Covenant. We're not bound by the old laws, the old rules, any of that. But the reality is when we get to the New Testament, one of the things that Jesus says, there's this little debate that he gets into in Matthew chapter 23. He says, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you tithe mint and dill and cumin and have neglected the weightier matters of law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. These you ought to have done without neglecting the others. What he's basically saying, sort of an interesting idea, is it is not... He sort of assumes tithing. I know you guys tithe. What I'm after you about is you get down to the little minuscule, you make it a legalistic thing, you get so worked up on this, and he's sort of going after the Pharisees. You've missed the whole idea of tithing. You've missed the whole idea of it. Now, if you don't want to play the legalism game, that's fine, but I would still go back to the first idea where you have to have a plan. If you don't want to do percentage, fine, do an amount, which would still be a percentage if you do it all the time. That's just math. I'm not good at that. Okay, but the idea is very simple. Just choose. I can't do 10%. All right, do 8%. I can't do 8%. All right, do 6%. I can't do 6%. All right, 5%. Do something. But the idea that you're just going to do over and over again, that you're sort of planning it out. You are planning it out. You have made a decision beforehand, and then you're going to plan it out. Now, some of you, I'm singing your song. This is great. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for a pastor to get up here and give it to everybody about tithing and all that. Man, I'm so glad somebody's telling them what they need to do. Because there's a lot of folks in here. And so I've got something for you. I've got a special surprise for you, okay? This one, sacrificial giving, okay? Pastor, I tithe. Listen, I tithe every week. You ain't catching me. I tithe. It's for somebody else. Okay? This is the pathway to gratitude, and this is the pathway to generosity. Tithing does not make you generous. It doesn't. I don't care how long you've been doing it. I don't care how much you've done. Tithing does not make you generous. Being generous makes you generous. Pretty simple. Being generous makes you generous. I know folks who are very legalistic on that, and that's why I would say, listen, do not get caught in that. That's where Jesus wants to talk to you in Matthew chapter 23. It's not about that. If you want to be generous, be generous. And we need some of those. We need all of these. We need some of these who are like, listen, I just need just a little bit. I'm just going to start just doing it. Some of you need to do this, not for the church, but you need to do this because you need a different approach to your finances. But way up there, we need some of those. We need some of those. I heard a story of a couple. They did something that was crazy. They did something called reverse tithing. Okay? And they were successful, and you say, oh, yeah, they got the ability to do it. But they got married. They've been married for over 40 years. And what they did is when they got married, they made this commitment. We're going to start by tithing, okay? And their first year of marriage, they tithe 10% of their income. They kept succeeding. The next year, they started giving 11%, 12%, 13%. And every year of their marriage, they continued to give more until they got to a point where they were tithing almost 80% of their salary. 80%. And they were not looking around, oh my gosh, we got to, go, knock charcoal out of the cave so we can heat our home. No, they were fine. Completely fine. Completely fine. I've never met somebody, I've never met anybody. You know what? I gave too much. I gave too much to that charity last year. I gave way too much to the church last year. I'm not going to listen. I gotta keep myself in check. I gave way too much to First Baptist. Just too much. Listen. I've never met that person. I've never met that person. I've never met anybody that regrets or misses where it went. Where'd it go? You know what I could have done with that? You know the refrigerators I could have bought with that? Do you know, and if you want financial peace, you need to start going up this ladder, okay? Now, I know going up this ladder is not giving any of you peace because you're worried, especially my wife, okay? But this is the path. This is the path to financial peace. Yeah. That's right. And as we close, we are closing, and I've gone a little bit long this morning. My apologies for that. But it's real simple. Where are you at on the ladder? Where are you at? Where are you? If you want, take a picture of it before you leave. Talk about it over lunch. Where are you at on the ladder? What step are you on? And the challenge this week is we are in this red letter challenge. As we are going through all these different ideas and concepts and things that you have to process, where are you at? This is the challenge for you. This is the challenge for you. Wherever you're at, what's it going to take to get you to the next one? And for some of you, man, that would be awesome. For some of you who are struggling, I realize you're here. I get it. You're here. That's fine. For some of you, you have resources. And you still have no peace. You still have no peace. And Jesus has something to say to all of us. For whatever step you are on, wherever place you are on this journey. And so I'm going to ask our ushers to come forward for a time of offering. And as they prepare, I'm going to lead us in prayer. And I just want you to think. And this is not, oh, guilt, give. No. Okay? This is a decision that I want you to make. I want you to make a decision. If you're not ready right now to make that decision, that's fine. You can make that this week. You can do something next week. Okay? Some of you may still have to process the whole thing. But there is, are you going to take the challenge? The challenge right there in Malachi. Test me. Go ahead and test me. We'll see if it works. We'll see. I'm excited to hear the stories that come from it. So let's pray. God, we thank you. We thank you for what you want to do in our lives. Now, there are things like forgiveness and concepts that we can do really on a mental level. This is a hard one. This one takes physical reaction. This takes us doing something. This takes a step or two or a step or 9 to get to where you want us to be. God, we know that you don't want us to be broke. You don't want us to have nothing. You want us to have financial peace. And you want us to be good stewards, and you want us to be managers of the resources that you have given to us. So God, I pray that as we close out the service, it's not just a thing that we do today, but it's something that we carry forward. And all this we pray in your name. Amen.
This is my desire to honor you, Lord, with all my heart I worship you. All I have within me I give you praise. All that I adore is in you. Lord, I give you my heart. I give you my soul. I live for you alone. Every breath that I take, every moment I'm awake. Lord, have your way in me. This is my desire to honor you. All that I adore is in you. And all I have within me I give you praise. All that I adore is in you. Lord, I give you my heart. I give you my soul. I live for you alone. Every breath that I take, every moment I'm awake. Lord, have your way in me. Every breath that I take, every moment I'm awake. Lord, have your way in me. Lord, have your way in me.
Hope you all have a wonderful week. We'll see you back here next Sunday. One of the things we just mentioned is one of the things you can also help if you have people that you know that are struggling or need coaching. There's a lot of scams out there. There's things that you can always help folks in your community, in your family, and your neighbors, things like that. So keep all that in mind. But I'm anxious to hear some of those stories, some of those reports from you next week. If you take the test, if you take the challenge this week, have a great week. We'll see you next Sunday.